The weather is warming up and it is time for picnics.
At Whole Foods Market, you can save every day. Look for the yellow low price signs that help you save money without compromising the quality you expect from Whole Foods Market. Find them with their responsibly farmed Atlantic salmon, no antibiotics ever ground beef, and boneless, skinless chicken breasts, plus more throughout the store. Yellow really means savings at Whole Foods Market because their sales signs are also yellow. So basically, wherever you see yellow, you know you're saving money. Save on the best of spring with great everyday prices at Whole Foods Market. Let's talk about a small thing that can make a big difference if you have diabetes, the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor. It's amazing how the sensor gives you real-time glucose readings so you can see the impact of every meal and activity to make better choices.
The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help you live life with diabetes on your terms. This is progress. You can try it for free at freestylelibre.us. Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Lemonada.
Hello, we're here for More Happier, a podcast where we get more of the Happier podcast. Join us for some weekend listening. It's observations and reflections with a looser vibe. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi, Gretchen.
Today we'll talk about some behind-the-scenes info about my new book, and we'll share our next question in what has turned out to be a surprisingly fascinating continuing series about people's eating quirks. Who knew this was a thing?
All right, Gretch, first let's talk about something making us happier. What's making you happier?
Well, I am happier because I'm about to start my book tour. I am going all over the country, which is super fun. I'm going to cities that I've never visited before in my life. I'm excited because people are pre-ordering. Thank you to everybody who has pre-ordered. Huge gold stars. I appreciate it so much. Pre-orders do so much for a book. It's encouraging and it really helps the fate of the book. And it's interesting, the book comes out on April 1st, which is the day the tour begins. And at first I thought that was kind of an inauspicious day, but it's memorable. April Fool's.
Yes.
April Fool's Day.
It's your April Fool's book.
My April Fool's book. It's because it's trying to make you less foolish. So we'll think about it that way. And all the information, of course, is at happiercast.com/secrets.
Yay.
So Elizabeth, what's making you happier?
Well, Gretch, along the same lines, I am happier because you're coming to LA.
I absolutely am. I'm so sad it's only for one night, which feels like not nearly long enough, but I'll take one night rather than no nights. So I'm very excited to be staying with you.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time since you've been here.
I know. When was the last time that I was there?
I can't even remember. But sometimes, Gretch, I was thinking funny things happen when you're here.
Yes.
Like there was the time when we had just redone our fire pit and we had lava rocks in it, which we have since changed because they were popping and pieces were flying out and a burning lava rock ember flew in your eye.
Yeah. Well, did it blow in my eye or did it blow in my cheek? I thought
maybe
it hit my
it was
cheek.
Your cheek. Okay.
I think it hit my cheek. But yeah, it was pretty startling. No, I think it was the first time you turned it on. And so I think we thought, oh, this is just sort of like a startup thing, that it was just because it had never been used before, but it was not a good idea to sit close to it. But did you end up switching it out altogether? I thought maybe that would get itself sorted out once they'd been heated up a few times.
No, it kept happening. So yeah, we changed it out to glass. Yes. And we never looked back.
Right.
No more lava rock for us.
Well, the thing that I remember is, so you and I are both allergic to cats.
Yes.
You're more allergic to cats than I am. But funnily enough, Adam came to your marriage with 2 cats. And so you had 2 cats living in your house for a long time. And there was a whole system where the cats couldn't go past a door on a hallway so that the bedrooms were cat-free. But your kitchen area and your office area, those had cats. And I thought, well, as long as I don't pet the cats and touch my eye, I'm okay. And I had never before or since had this response, but I completely lost my voice. Do you remember this?
Yes, and you were doing a speaking event.
Yes, I had done something in Los Angeles the night before, and then I was going somewhere like an hour and a half away the next day, and my voice was just gone. And I felt fine. It was just I couldn't talk. And I was saying to the people, I can't talk. And they were trying to make pleasant conversation with me in the car. And I'm like, I'm really just trying to save my voice because I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to speak if I don't really, really rest my voice. But the longer that I was away from your house, the more my voice started coming back. And so by the time that I did the event, I was completely fine. And I didn't realize it was the cats at first. But then when I came back, then I started having the same problem. And so that was sort of strange. But it's funny, that's the only time that I've been affected that way by a cat allergy. I assume it was the cats. I'm sure it was the cats. You know how you can kind of feel an allergic reaction? But you're more allergic than I am, but you never had that.
No, but I do think my voice has gotten better since we no longer have cats in the house. But for me, it's mostly my eyes. My eyes just swell up and it is miserable.
Yeah, it's that itchy thing. Yeah. Well, and the other fun thing that we did, or that I try to do every time I come, and sometimes I get to happiness bully my way to doing it, and sometimes I'm not as successful. You're like, we don't have time for that this time if it's a short visit. But I love to clutter clear your closet, and I love to clutter clear your office. And I was listening on Happier in Hollywood, and you were talking about how you wanted to clear out your office, and I was just thinking, I'm coming your way.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, but I don't know that if you're ready for me psychologically.
I should be, Gretchen. It needs to be done. Even Sarah's trying to come in and do it. So it really needs to happen. We'll see what time you get here and what time you're leaving. It is a very short visit.
It's a short visit, and just to get to the venue, because when you're in Los Angeles, it takes a while to get someplace. So we might not have that much time, but I can do a lot in not much time. Because the thing about you, Elizabeth, is I remember the one time where we were going to clean out a closet in this spare room you had, and it was full, packed. But then when we went in there, it turned out it was all just boxes and bags that needed to be recycling. And so it took like 20 minutes, and then you had this giant stack of stuff for recycling. And the closet was empty. So you're a very satisfying person to clear clutter, because a lot of times it's things like there are books that are out. You're like, let's put these books on the shelf. And it's, okay, we're done.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, how is the treadmill desk?
The treadmill desk needs to be cleared off. Maybe if we just did that even, that would be good.
Because are you not using it?
Yes, because I'm not using it because it feels very unpleasant. So yeah, that would be a good place to start for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, so maybe we'll just plan on that. That's very manageable. That's fun for me and not overwhelming for you.
Okay. I love it. Okay, Gretch, coming up, there is something I've been meaning to ask you, but first, this break.
You know, as parents, we want to help our children succeed in school. But I remember when Eleanor was struggling with math, she was asking questions on the homework that I just did not feel equipped to answer. And that's where a program like IXL can really make a difference. IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed to help your kids really understand and master topics in a fun way with positive feedback. Eleanor needed something exactly like IXL, something that would really take her through the topic, help her keep up with class, and help her really understand the fundamentals.
IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Happier with Gretchen Rubin listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/happier. Visit IXL.com/happier to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. So, Gretch, as the weather gets warmer, I think a lot of us want to eat lighter meals, and Whole Foods Market has what you're looking for with great everyday prices. I love their 365 by Whole Foods Market brand. It's their house brand, and it has tons of spring essentials at daily low prices that will really put a little spark to your plate. They have brunch classics like juice, organic bagged salad kits. You know, I love a salad kit, smoked salmon, goat cheese and sandwich bread, plus smoothie ingredients like almond milk and organic frozen fruit blends, which I love to use for Jack's smoothies.
At Whole Foods Market, you can save every day. Look for the yellow low price signs that help you save money without compromising the quality you expect from Whole Foods Market. Find them with their responsibly farmed Atlantic salmon, no antibiotics ever ground beef, and boneless, skinless chicken breasts, plus more throughout the store. Yellow really means savings at Whole Foods Market because their sale signs are also yellow. So basically, wherever you see yellow, you know you're saving money. Save on the best of spring with great everyday prices at Whole Foods Market.
Okay, Gretch, you have your book we have mentioned coming out, Secrets of Adulthood. And I really want to hear about the details of the kind of behind the scenes. We've talked here and there about the cover and you're recording the audiobook and all of that, but I want to hear more. Tell me about the cover.
So the cover was really challenging, and I understand why, because the idea of Secrets of Adulthood, you know, it's these lessons that I learned the hard way that are expressed in like one sentence or two sentences or maybe a paragraph. So the idea is that they're secrets of adulthood. They're these very short pieces of wisdom, right? Things that I've learned the hard way. And so how do you convey that on a cover? Cover design is really hard. And I find it one of the most challenging things of my life as a writer because I'm very good at expressing myself through words, but I don't feel comfortable visually. Like I don't know how to describe what I have in my mind other than just show pictures of other books. I'm not good at explaining why I like or don't like something, like in offering constructive criticism. I feel like there's a lot of conventions that we all understand, like what a thriller looks like or what a literary fiction looks like, but I don't feel like I have a good handle on that. That was really hard when I was doing 40 Ways to Look at Winston Churchill and 40 Ways to Look at JFK. I didn't understand what made something look like the kind of book that it was. And in this book, it went through a lot of iterations trying to find the kind of cover that would convey what the book is, entice readers, and feel fresh. And I think they did an amazing job. I'll post an image in the show notes so people can look, or you can just look it up online and see the cover of it. But it's like a hand holding a little book that's pulled out. So it captures the idea of something small being pulled out of a book. So I thought that was a really brilliant way to convey the contents.
Yes, it's a great cover. Definitely makes you want to read it, which I always say we can say all the time that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but we all do judge books by their covers.
Oh, we
all do. So you
want
to have a good one.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because I love to have circles on the cover of books because I think that circles really draw the eye. And if you look at a lot of my books, they have circles incorporated into them. And this doesn't have a circle, but it has a square, but it's like a square. It's a dark blue square against a light blue background. And the way that it's cut out, I think it operates like a circle and that it draws the eye because it's this very distinct image. And so I feel like it functions as a circle without being a circle. It's blue and yellow, which a lot of my books have blue and yellow, but it's kind of a different blue and yellow, but it's very vivid. And, you know, it was really a hard process, but then in the end, I thought that it's terrific. It reminds me of Outer Order, Inner Calm. That was a super hard cover. And then the minute I saw the cover, I was like, oh, 100%, this is the perfect cover. So it's not my favorite part of the process, but it's very satisfying when the cover designer really gets it right.
Well, and then, so you recorded the audiobook, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, well, what I was thinking about with the audiobook is, do you remember with one of your books, I think maybe it was Happier at Home, you actually didn't record it yourself because someone wrote in and said, I don't like your voice in the audiobook. And it's just that thing about how one person criticizing us can send us down a complete path.
Yeah.
And then, of course, though, the vast majority of people want to hear you reading it.
Yeah. No, I learned that lesson the hard way. Yeah. No, it is one of the things where it's very easy to be swayed by one person's negative opinion because other people don't bother to weigh in. And I thought, oh, well, I want to serve the listener as best I can. I'm not a professional reader. Like if I'm not doing a good job, let somebody else who's a professional do it. And then, of course, everybody's like, why aren't you reading your own book? So I learned that lesson the hard way. And I really enjoy doing it. A few times I've caught a mistake.
Ooh.
Yeah. And if you find a mistake, they will correct it in later editions. So there is a process. Like I have a director who directs me. And so she takes a note and we can send it to my editor. So that's not a nice thing to discover, but it's good to discover it. It was in my Churchill book. I think I meant Roosevelt, but I just said Eisenhower. You know how like sometimes you just say the wrong thing and you have the complete right image in your mind. It's just the wrong word popped out. So that was that. And in this one, it was a lot of hard names to pronounce, like French names. And so that was what really was the hard thing for me in this book.
Well, and how many hours does it take?
Well, it just depends. This book, because it's all these short sentences, did not take long at all. So that was like half a day. But I've done it where it's many days. And the thing is, it's very tiring. You would think, oh, how hard it is just to sit there and read your own book aloud. But it's you really have to think about what you're saying and have pauses and emphasis. And you can't just drone through it, clearly. Right. And then I have my stomach noises. So I always have to have a pillow in my lap because of my stomach noises. But it's an interesting way to experience your book. And one thing that I will often do is I will read at least major parts of the book aloud as part of the editing process, because you definitely do pick up things in the writing when you read something aloud. Like you can find accidental rhyme, you can find accidental alliteration, you can find word repetition, you can realize that something is just so complicated that you need to simplify it. So reading something aloud is actually a really good editing tool. But of course, by the time you're reading the audiobook, that ship has sailed. Unless it's an actual mistake, there is no tinkering to be done.
Yes. And that, Gretchen, you always spend a lot of time thinking about how you organize the book itself. It's kind of your first big breakthrough, I'd say, with most of your projects. Yes. So what is the organization of this book?
Yeah, it's always structure. I feel like structure is the key to everything, and it's often really difficult. Like with Life in Five Senses, it is literally organized: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. And that took me more than a year. I had 11 senses, then I had 9 senses, then I had this, then I had that. And in the end, it was just, I think it was Eliza who said, maybe you should just organize it according to the 5 senses. It's like, oh my gosh, I should. So it's got the organization of a board book, but that was really hard for me. And what was tricky about this book was that I've been writing these aphorisms for years. And so I just had this giant trove. And I have other people's aphorisms. I have proverbs of the professions. I have weird little facts and collections that I've gathered. I have this giant document that's full of all sorts of strange stuff. So then I had to go through and pick the ones that were true secrets of adulthood, meaning there was something in the observation that was somehow useful for someone. And then I thought, well, what are the categories that they fall into? And so these are the categories that I realized that the aphorisms fall into. There's sub-themes within it, but one is cultivating ourselves. One is facing the perplexities of relationship. One is making things happen. And then there's confronting life's dilemmas. And these are huge themes we talk about all the time, because you're like, this is why I need a secret of adulthood, because I am facing this problem. But a funny thing was, I love a little hack. And there were all these little hacks that just did not rise to the level of being a secret of adulthood, but they were still useful. And I just couldn't resist. So I threw a bunch of them at the end. But I kind of thought my editor would make me take them out, because they're like arrange information in 3s. That is not a secret of adulthood, but it's useful information. And she loved it. She's like, oh, let's just leave them in. It's fun. So those are called simple secrets of adulthood. That's just a little collection at the end. But a funny thing, when I was telling people about it, I would say, well, I left out all the aphorisms that were just observations. And then I left out all the bleak aphorisms that are negative. And every single person is like, I want to read the bleak aphorisms. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear my bleak aphorisms. And then they're like, oh, but I do. Send them to me. So maybe they'll be like Gretchen Rubin After Dark. The Dark Secrets of Adulthood.
Yes, you need to do a PDF of that.
I know, or something. Yes. I know. Well, I got to figure it out. I got to look at them again, because some of them are pretty dark, but then some are not so dark. So they weren't constructive secrets of adulthood.
And now that you've been working on the book and going through it and reading it aloud, did you come away with any absolute favorites?
Well, I love all of them, of course. But one of the things that's interesting now that the book is starting to go out into the world more is which ones other people mention to me. So, which is, really fascinating. And one that I love that I've been very gratified that people have seemed to find useful was the bird, the bee, and the bat all fly, but they use different wings. And that's literally true. Like the structure of their wings is completely different. And I had so much fun researching that and finding the alliteration of the B, 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 B. And so I was really glad that that seemed to resonate with people. Another one that people keep pointing to is we care for many people we don't particularly care for. Well, one that people always mention that I, maybe because I'm an upholder, didn't realize was very illuminating, but people seem to find it useful, is that what we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while.
Yes, you've been saying that for years.
Yeah. Well, some of these aphorisms are ones that I wrote for like the Happiness Project because I have been trying to write more aphoristically over the years. And some of these are insights that I got along the way. But they really are all my favorites. So I'm curious to know what other people will find to be their favorites.
Yes. And Gretchen, I wanted to mention that Sarah and I interviewed you on Happier in Hollywood about the book. So if people want to hear more about Secrets of Adulthood, listen to episode 409 of Happier in Hollywood. And of course, Gretchen, we need to tell everybody to pre-order.
Yes, I know. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. It's one of those things, but you don't have a book hit the shelves that many times, so you just have to be tiresome about it. Yeah, you go to happiercast.com/secrets and pre-order away.
Yes, it reminds me, I told Sarah with our Substack, I feel like a doll having its string pulled because every time I say Substack, I then have to say, go to happierenhollywood.com and scroll down, etc. So I hear you.
Yeah.
It is our lives.
It is our thing.
Okay, Gretchen, what is this week's spotlight on a tool?
Well, completely different. It is springtime, and so that means a lot of people are focusing on spring cleaning. And if you are trying to get organized this spring, you might like the Memento Journal, which is a great way to organize keepsakes and mementos. You might like the Tackle Box, which has the different sticky pads, like the to-do list, the to-do list, the today list, all those. That's fun. Or a Don't Break the Chain habit tracker. That can help with getting organized. Alyssa, I know you're a big fan of the Don't Break the Chain. That's a tool that works really well for you. Some people do it in the Happier app. Some people like to do it in a journal. So you can find all those at happiercast.com/shop.
Excellent. All right, Gretchen, coming up, you have yet another question for me about eating. But first, this break. Gretchen, I have always loved water slides. And at Great Wolf Lodge, you can take your whole family on an unforgettable adventure. It's a world of fun all under one roof with lots of water slides. There's also wave pools, depending on where you go, lazy rivers, water basketball, and every water park is always a warm 84 degrees, just the way I like it.
Along with the amazing water slides, which range from the high-speed thrill rides to the toddler-friendly slopes, they've also got high-flying ropes courses, miniature golf, climbing walls, mini bowling, virtual reality rooms, and a massive arcade. That's just some of the things that everybody in the whole family can do. And best of all, it's just a short drive away. So bring your pack together and wolf out. Learn more at greatwolf.com, greatwolf.com. Book now and strengthen your pack at Great Wolf Lodge.
Meet JLab, headphones as versatile as you. Work out, jam out, or tune out. Find the perfect fit with JLab. JLab's diverse collection of headphones has something for everyone and every moment. Think headphones in a million different colors and styles with features you actually want for working out, chilling out, or jamming out.
So I have very small ears, and I also don't like to carry much with me. So I love the J-Buds Mini. They fit on a keychain. It's this little tiny set, smaller than a coin, and you can fit them to different ears, but my ears are very small. It's a really great fit. And then for travel, I'm very excited to use the Epic Lux ANC over-ear headphones. They're super comfortable, super sleek looking, and they have the longest active noise canceling playtime at 60 plus hours, which is great for travel. Look for the blue box at retailers everywhere or shop jlab.com and use code HAPPIER for 15% off your order today. Okay, Elizabeth, this is something I've been meaning to ask you. Okay, so we're doing this whole series about eating quirks, right? Because we all have these eating habits. Like, do you rotate your plate? Do you eat one thing at a time, or do you alternate? Or do you, go bite, 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 bite? Would you ever open a package in a store and start eating it? Of course, you're going to pay for it, but would you start eating it before you paid for it? And now I have another question for you, okay?
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so this comes from one of the great writers on food. Her name was MFK Fisher. She is an amazing essayist. This is from The Art of Eating. I highly recommend everything that MFK Fisher writes. But she makes this observation, and I want to know how you would answer this. She writes, almost every person has something secret he likes to eat. So my question for you, Elizabeth, is do you have something secret that you like to eat?
Well, I can't think of anything secret right now. I will say, and you know this, not secret to you, when I was younger, I loved to drink pickle juice.
Yes, that is true. Yes, you did. You would drink the pickle juice from the jar.
Yes. Now, I would drink it with a spoon, so I wouldn't like glug glug. I would take a spoon and spoon out a couple of spoonfuls and then put it back. And I loved pickle juice. And I don't know, I lost my taste for it along the way.
I think you really like salty things, and pickle juice is very salty. Yeah.
I am a chips person, so that makes sense.
You like
so
salt.
That's what I would say. What about you?
Well, there's nothing now that you do that's...
Well, the one thing I do, which I don't know, it's not a secret item, but maybe it's more of a secret process, which is I will take ice cream. Like I get a spoon, I'll spoon out a mouthful and then pour chocolate sauce like on that one spoonful, eat it, and then, keep doing that.
Oh, okay.
So it's maybe not the greatest thing to do, and it's a little weird. So it's like the ice cream eating isn't weird, but the process is weird.
That you think of somebody putting chocolate syrup like on a bowl of ice cream, and you're really putting dabs of chocolate syrup, spoonful by spoonful. Okay.
Yes.
No bowl.
No bowl.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I would love to know if other people do that. Like maybe a lot of people do that, and I think it's just me. There's a lot of things like that.
Yeah. Well, also in your quirkiness, your childhood quirkiness, again, it wasn't a secret, but it was quirky, was that you would butter saltines and then toast them in a toaster oven so that the butter would melt into it.
Yes, and I did cause multiple toaster oven fires doing that.
You did. Don't try this at home, kids. That turns out to not be a very good idea.
All right, Gretchen, wait, what about you?
Okay. Well, it used to be brown sugar out of the jar. So I have such an intense sweet tooth. And so you know how brown sugar will get a little bit dry, and so there'll be sort of like these crumbly balls of brown sugar in a jar? So I would eat those, and I love those, but I don't eat those anymore because I gave up sugar, partly because I love sugar so much that I would do things like eat raw brown sugar out of a jar. And so I'm like, let me just stop eating sugar, and then I won't be battling this sweet tooth anymore. But I used to do that. But here's something, and again, maybe it's not that it's secret, but that it's unconventional, and members of my family make fun of me for it and act shocked that I like it, though I think it's great, which is frozen bacon. What do you think? Is frozen bacon normal, or is frozen bacon not normal? I think frozen bacon is delicious.
It is not normal. I think it sounds absolutely disgusting. So that would be one that I would do secretly if I were to do it, which I never would.
Okay, so maybe I need to be more secretive about my frozen bacon instead of wearing my frozen bacon proudly.
Yes,
through
I
life.
think that's a furtive frozen bacon.
A furtive frozen bacon. Okay, well, that's funny because I like bacon. I like hot bacon. I like cold bacon. I like frozen bacon. I like it crispy. That's the one thing I do. I like it crispy in all its forms, but I will take bacon. Okay. Well, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, Gretch, we have to have people write in with what secret thing they like to eat. I mean, this is going to be amusing. We have to hear about it, and then we've got to share it with the world.
Yes, exactly. I predict that there will be things related to peanut butter. I feel like a lot of people do things with peanut butter. Peanut butter is a canvas for many things.
Yes.
So, okay. Yeah, let us know, listeners. We are dying to hear.
Okay, Gretchen, what is our quotation this week?
Okay, this one is very funny. It comes from, if you're thinking, who said something funny? Well, maybe Mark Twain. Yes, and Mark Twain actually said this. There's many things he is said to have said that he didn't say, but he did write this in Following the Equator. He wrote, "To be good is noble, but to show others how to be good is nobler and no trouble."
That's funny. I think many would argue whether how to show others to be good is nobler than being good oneself. But
that's
why
it's
it's
much
funny.
less trouble.
Love Mark Twain.
So, Elizabeth, are you feeling happier?
Yes, I'm feeling happier. Thank you to Chuck. Bye, Gretch.
Bye, Elizabeth. The best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
Gretch, I know you find out that you've been mispronouncing words when you do your audiobook. Was there anything in this one that you were surprised?
Yes. There's somebody named Publius Cyrus, and I'd been saying Cyrus my whole life. So that was something that I've now learned to do correctly.
That's not too bad.
From the Onward Project.